We're gonna start here with the spraying, do some things, then we're gonna go next door into the building, sit down, drink a little bit, talk a little bit, and we'll come back here. I've got Patrick. He's here to talk about some solar. There's a lot of new solar things coming out. We're doing more and more with solar, so I just thought he'd be a good contact for you guys to meet. Maybe we could all do some networking, trade some cards. But I'm gonna turn it over to John and let him share expertise with you guys.
Two other people I'd like to mention that are here. Anthony Mitchell, our tech rep out of the Memphis, North Mississippi area. And Scott Frederick, our tech rep out of Middle Tennessee. These guys will be, if you're out, you're doing warranty jobs, they'll be very involved. Appreciate you guys taking the time to come out and be with us today.
Sorry, my bad.
So really appreciate everybody being here today. As Scott mentioned, I've been in the roofing industry now 27 years. Started with Tremco 27 years ago, and about 26 years ago started applying coatings. And a couple of things that you should know about coatings right up front. It's not a miracle in a bucket, that's number one. Number two, the guys in the white coats and the gals in the white coats who make the stuff and test it in the lab and say, hey, it's perfect, most times they don't know what they're talking about because they're not up on the roof, right? And I think we find that for a lot of our products that we work with, that you get instructions and then how do we do it in real life? So what I'm gonna share with you a lot of real life examples and things that we can do to be a little bit more successful with it. Coatings have a place, just like any other product, and again, it's not a miracle in a bucket. Garrett is gonna show us the DutyMax 675 DI, this is considered a portable unit. We basically have two different pumps that we're looking at for our purposes. We offer a silicone and an acrylic product. Who here is familiar with coatings? Hands. Who here uses coatings on a regular basis? Hands. Who here sprays coatings? Okay, very important. If you're going to go into spraying, and I suggest, just like we did with the introduction of coatings, we're going to get into that a little bit more detailed inside, is crawl, walk, run. You don't want to go from not using coatings to starting with the DutyMax 675 because now you're walking fast. And you certainly don't want to go to the 933, which is the big pump. Now you're running at a sprint, okay? So let's be smart about how we do it. You'll be more successful. You'll make money. Your customer will get a good outcome. And then as we get further experience, then we can start to graduate. Two different technologies, acrylic and silicone, two different pumps, okay? You don't want to use the same pump for your silicones that you use for acrylics. And inside I'm going to get involved with why. A lot of it has to do with pressure, but a lot of it has to do with just the technologies themselves. So Garrett's going to talk with you a little bit. We're going to do some spray applications. I expect everybody here at some point throughout the course of the day to touch the product. Whether it's spray, whether it roll, we're going to do some mastic applications, adhesion testing, and things like that. But I think the best way for you guys to get comfortable with it is to touch it, feel it, and see it. So that's it for me. Garrett?
All right, one of the things that you just heard, getting into this, first thing right off the bat may or may not be the best thing for you. We all know what this is. Is anybody here that does not know what this is? Okay, no hands are up, okay? You know what it is, but do you use it? Oh, so we did have one person, you just didn't want to be the only one now?
Well, I didn't know what that's called a wet mill gauge. That's how you're going to measure your application rate, okay?
This is the most important thing, okay? This right here is your job security. If you, and I'm sure you guys, normally I'd be last, just to kind of fill you in. The reason why I'm going first is because I got to get out of here. I got to get back to Tennessee in order to get my second COVID shot. Normally I'd be...
Yeah, you'd be last, yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of doing this backwards. But this right here, because this is so easy to operate, okay? Even a rookie, after 20 minutes, half hour tops, they're gonna wanna go faster, okay? And if you're applying faster, that means you're not putting your product down thick enough. And if you're not putting your product down thick enough, what may happen? No warranty.
Comes loose.
What else?
You're gonna have holes in between, or gaps in between it. It's like a
No
seal up
warranty.
close.
No warranty.
Your warranty's gone, okay? If you don't apply it right, these guys are off the hook. All right, but the thing is they do not want you not to apply it wrong, okay? Because it makes their product look bad, okay? It really does. Doing it right the first time is where you make your money, okay? This right here, you heard him say, we have 2 units, okay? Gas-powered units, okay? This is the more portable one, 675. The next one up to 933. It's much bigger, okay? It's like this, okay? What do you get? A lot more productivity, a lot more hose length, okay? That makes you, okay, more efficient. If you don't have to keep moving your base, okay? If you have a piece of equipment to where you can add more hose to it, that's the thing to do, right? Okay. Who is familiar with this? I know you. Who is familiar with this piece of equipment? None of you? How about the 933? So you are all rookies to spraying? Okay, pretty much.
That's good.
Okay.
That's what we're here for.
That's what you're here for. There's no such thing as a dumb question, guys. Feel free, to ask. I mean, that's what you're here to do. You're here to learn, okay? Why can you not use this machine if I wanted to go with your
Acrylic.
customerics or your acrylics? Okay. What's the biggest reason why?
Well, again, we're going to talk about this in detail when we go inside, right? Silicone is a solvent-based product that cures through moisture. Acrylics is a water-based product that cures through evaporation. So when you introduce water into silicone, you start to cure the product. So if you use this for acrylic, you're going to have water vapor in the lines, you're going to have water vapor in your hoses, you're going to have water vapor in your guns, and as you're pushing that silicone out, you're going to start to cure it. You're going to foul your pump, and you're going to foul your lines. And now your building your owner is turning around, coming to you and saying, "Why did you just cost me $3,500 in a gun and hoses?" Okay, so that's why it's important. And as we get into this, we're going to get more detailed into it.
This part of the unit you can use, but say you are using this unit to do, you're running it with silicone now. Hoses, anything that the silicone is going to touch, except for the actual pump itself. If you clean that out real good, if you have another set of hoses, okay, for their acrylics, you're okay. Okay, but the key thing is, we do have special pumps for that other stuff. All right, silicone. The key thing is I've heard a couple people already give out some other names. Okay, you had mentioned Geico. All right, we have a model for our 933 that was specifically made to spray Geico products. Geico products is extremely hard to move. Okay, this stuff right here, I've never even sprayed this stuff before, but I can tell you just from my coworkers that have worked with you guys, okay, this stuff sprays a hell of a lot easier. Okay, silicone, don't care whose it is, you still need a high PSI pump. What I mean by a high PSI pump, okay, so it's got to be in the high 6s, low 7,000 PSI range. Okay, acrylics you can get away with. We have an 833. Acrylics you want volume. PSI isn't as critical as volume. Okay, this pump right here is 1.5 GPMs. You know what GPMs is? Okay, gallons per minute. Okay, 6,750 PSI. Our 833 is 4 GPMs, 4,000 PSI. In a lot of products, you'll have one pump and actually 2 hoses. You can have somebody going 200-300 feet that way and somebody going 200-300 feet that way. Okay. You try to spray a silicone product, and I don't care if it's 100 degrees out. Of course, this stuff, I'm assuming yours is going to be the same. The harder it is, the better. The harder the material lowers viscosity, it's easier to spray. Okay? You guys will notice you spray product when it's 60 degrees out and you spray product when it's 95 degrees out. The machine's going to love it at 95 degrees a lot more. Okay? Some people will try to spray silicone products through an 833. And then I get that phone call. It's usually September. Okay? Oh, it's not spraying the same product anymore. Yeah? Well, you were told, guess what you need to do now? You're either gonna get a roller, which is what you guys are gonna do later on this afternoon, okay? Or you're buying another pump, okay? Can't stress it enough, buy the right pump first for silicone. There's only two, it's nice and easy. This one and the 933. That's it, okay? Any other pump, I don't care who you're talking to, do not go to YouTube and put in silicone 833 because there's ding-dongs out there that try it. But what you don't see, okay, is all the problems they have after it. They don't put that on YouTube, okay? Can't stress it enough. PSI is the key, okay? This machine right here, it can be on the ground, but the higher vertical you go, what are you gonna lose? Excuse me?
Pressure.
Pressure.
Did you
Right.
Did you say this machine does 8,000 psi?
6750.
6750.
6750.
Okay, 6750 here. Okay, the more of this you have on, it gets less. So basically, what you're really trying to get is 3 to 4 at the tip.
To atomize the product, you need about 3,400 psi at the tip. So the reason that you need higher pressure at the pump is you're gonna lower your pressure depending on how thick your hose is, how wide your diameter of the hose is, how far your run is, right? And if you're going up. So that's why we suggest this is your walking model, right? You put this on the roof, you could do 1,000 squares with this. It's not a question of size of the job. You can do whatever size job you want. This is for the roof. Now, as Garrett mentioned, and I've been on jobs where there's a rack truck at the base of the building with barrels of equipment, with barrels of drums, and an 833 with 2 hoses, and the guy sits this rack truck in the middle of a 400-foot building. They go opposite ends, come this way, drive around the other side, and they're done in 3 days on like 1,100 squares, okay? So, but you gotta get to that level of proficiency and expertise, and certainly the most important guy is the guy that's holding his gun, okay?
All right, silicone, whether it's this one or the 933, it's one operator. Okay. Now the 933, if the unit happens to be on the roof, you're not going, very high vertically. Okay. In California, we have customers that are putting 500-600 feet of hose on a 933. Now, if it's on the ground and they're going up 30, 40, 50 feet, okay, I have a customer that's actually in East Tennessee. They've put 400 feet of hose on, no problem at all, okay? Down here, okay, well, Tennessee gets a little cooler here, but basically the same weather. But come October, and it was basically October 1st, when it started to cool down a little bit, they had to take 50 feet of length off of the hose, okay? Just because the material's not as hot, viscosity goes up, thickens up the product a little bit, okay, so they had to reduce by 50 feet, okay? Not a big deal. It's really not, okay? Key thing was with spraying, okay? He said, this is the most important guy, right here, okay? With this system, most likely you're running the system right now. How many people do you have on a crew to operate this?
4.
4? Okay. I wasn't expecting 4. Okay. Do you have one here? One here, and do you have one person taking care of the hose?
Yeah.
Okay. Especially on the 933, because you're going to have a lot more hose.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the most important guy. Second most important guy for a 933 is the guy running the hose. That hose is 3/4 inch. Okay, it's heavy, and now you're putting product through it. It's going to make it even heavier. Okay. Once the person is spraying, and you'll see, you just want them to go, right? You guys are getting paid by the square foot, or I don't know how you guys bid it out. Okay. But if it's not spraying, you're not making money, are you? Okay. Say you have 300 feet of hose on, is the guy gonna be able to maneuver 300 feet of hose with this? No, so you got one person just operating the hose, okay? One person operating this. Of course, that's gonna be nicer. Most likely, you guys will be running it out of a 25-gallon hopper. That 25-gallon hopper hooks right into the bottom instead of going out of a 5-gallon bucket like this. Okay, you guys running the hoppers? You're running straight out of 5-gallon buckets?
You got to get a hopper.
Get a hopper.
You got to.
That is gonna, oh, trust me.
Well, here's it's very simple math. A 5-gallon bucket, you're spraying 1.5 gallons a minute. How frequently are you changing that bucket? 3 minutes, right? And what ends up happening is you got to change it before it runs dry, because if the pump, if you lose a vacuum on the pump, you got to recirculate everything again and prime it. You get a hopper, you got 25 gallons in there, you got about 5 gallons in the line. So you're literally, this guy's walking out and spraying, you're pouring 5-gallon buckets in every 3 minutes.
Okay.
So your time is there.
And this is, you know,
That's about $600-700 bucks.
inside here, it's kind of a pain in the butt.
I've never seen that before. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, that's because you didn't buy it from us. I mean, if you bought it from us, I wouldn't have sold it to you otherwise.
This right here, everything you're seeing right here is a package. We call it the big 150 package, right here, and then we have the big 150 with the hopper. Get it with the hopper. Trust me, okay? Just gonna make you more efficient. And the key thing is once you start spraying, okay, you just wanna go. You just wanna go, 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 okay? What's nice with the hopper also is you guys will be able to take breaks. Again, this gentleman right here, can I tell you, do you want the products to sit in the lines for a long time, not spraying?
No.
How much did it cost you guys when you did that?
Grand? Was it? For hose? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, no, it's,
all right, it's
We made that mistake
funny,
once,
but it's
yeah.
not fun. If the owner is sitting there saying, hey, every time you stop for too long, instead of taking, you know, your half-hour lunch, you were farting around for an hour and a half, just cost me $1,000. But more importantly, what did the owner lose?
Production.
Production's money, right? And in an hour, do you think you're making more than $1,000 an hour applying this product?
depends on the applicator.
Okay.
So again, you know, this is why we do these trainings, right? Because with our customer base, when we sell equipment or we sell product, we can sell you anything, right? We can sell, yeah, do this, do that, or, you know, buy this, buy that. But we want to make sure, A, you know how to use it, B, you know how to put it down right, and C, what are the pitfalls? What are you going to run into that's going to be a big old crap that then you're going to have to deal with? So we try to take that away from it. That's the whole purpose of this. One of the reasons I keep saying is, let's crawl, walk, run.
Why can you take a break with the hopper? The material's still in the line the same, isn't it?
Well, see, the thing is if this guy right here, every 3 to 5 minutes, he's trying to fill that bucket up, okay? With this right here, if this is full, okay? Now all of a sudden, the guy in the hose, you're spraying, you're taking lunch.
Gotcha.
The guy in the hose moves up to there, moves up to, you're running 4 people, so it works real good, okay? So there's no rush to get into this, okay? When you're trying to fill up 5-gallon buckets, one right after another, okay?
Full-time job.
Yeah, there is no break.
And you're introducing air because every time you tip that machine back, you're breaking the seal.
Okay.
So you're always have, the difference between a hopper and a bucket feed is you have no air in the line, all right? So if you have this in break for 25 minutes an hour and you've got it pressurized with no air in the line, it's not gonna cure. It only cures when you introduce air, which is moisture, right? So that's the reason, is every time you lift this up and put a new bucket in there, you're getting air into that system, all right? And that air is causing that to cure. So if it sits for 15, 20 minutes, maybe 50 feet down, you got an air bubble that's starting to cure both of that sides. Now, if you're there for an hour, it's gonna cure the product.
Yeah.
Because once it's spraying, and you'll see once we get it dialed in, okay, it's a nice smooth spray. I mean, have any of you guys see a house sprayer?
Paint sprayer.
A paint sprayer with a house. It's the exact same thing. You're just putting a different product through it. Okay? You just want it to flow nice.
With a lot more pressure.
Yes.
With a lot more pressure.
Guys, safety glasses. okay? These are just regular glasses, gloves. This comes with this extension, okay? I do not recommend using this extension. I mean, if you're cutting in or something like that, yes. But you want to get, it's on the cover of the brochure. It's like a 4-foot extension and it has a handle on it. I don't care whose product you're using. If you're not wearing a glove, then you're gonna do this because you're gonna want to help guide it. This gets hot. Okay, you get a lot of pressure going through it. It's a lot of friction, right? Well, what does friction do? It creates heat. So when you grab a hold of this, I had a customer who bought it 933 in Richmond, Virginia, 3 years ago. I told him to buy the extension. Okay, because the extension, if I have it way out there, that means I can put a wider spring tip, right? I put a wide spring tip, that means I'm getting more per pass. Labor savings, okay? Making you more efficient, okay? You guys are making more of a profit, okay? But the most important thing is it's comfortable. It's a lot more comfortable than this right here, okay? All right? We also have a pressure roller. Like if you get into spots where you do have to roll, we actually have one where it connects right onto this and you spray and you back roll it at the exact same time. Okay? Just some options that are out there. Now, for this right here, again, can't stress enough, it's high pressure. Okay? You always want to be careful. The first thing you're gonna do every single day, do you slick your lines every day?
No.
Garrett, before you do that, let's talk about the tip and the safety portion of the tip, please. That's really important.
Okay, definitely gonna need you guys to come closer now so that you all can see this. This right here is the actual tip guard, okay? That basically tries to keep you from putting your fingers under here.
Don't cut that off.
This is the actual spray tip, okay? Turn this one. Okay. Actual spray tip. You guys want to use the gray tips, okay? These are XHDs, extra heavy duty. What's nice with these is when I put these in, it locks it in, okay? You can't make a mistake of not putting it in correctly, okay? And then it turns. If it does not go in correctly, say you have it out, I don't care if it's 1/8 of an inch. When you hit the trigger, it's gonna, okay? You make a mess, okay? You really do, okay? So when that goes in, and there's different numbers here, okay? And you're gonna be using a bunch of different tips, all right? The first number on this is your fan width. Okay, this one right here, I believe happens to be a 531. So approximately 12 inches off of the ground, that's gonna spray a 10-inch pattern. Okay, the last two numbers is volume size. Okay, the volume of product that's gonna come out of the tip. Okay, right now we're running a 31. Now on a 933, you're gonna run a much bigger tip. Running a much bigger tip, what does that allow you to do?
Cover more area.
What's that?
Go faster.
Go faster. Why?
You cover more area.
Put more product out,
Tip.
yeah.
Okay, because it's putting out more product. Exactly. Now, if I want to cover more area, is the first number or the last two numbers more important?
First.
First, because your first is your fan width. Okay?
What was the formula on that? You said a foot from the...
12
Yeah,
inches.
If it's a foot off the bottom, it'd be about 10 inches. So if I'm holding it up this high, it's going to fan out like this.
So you said it's the first number's a 5 on that one.
On this one.
So you multiply that times 2.
Right.
Multiply it by 2. Okay?
So typically what you're going to find is when you start off, you're going to use a 5 or 6 fan. And then as you become more proficient, what you have to recognize is, yeah, you want to cover more space. Maybe you want to go to a 12, 24 inches, right? But if you don't know what you're doing with that 24 inches, you might have to make 3 passes to get your coverage rates. So start, get your time in, you get comfortable, now you move up, right? So it's about proficiency. Like if you're using a hand welder, no different than a hand welder. When you start off, you're typically hotter because you're just not comfortable and confident yet. When I see that burn, what's happening? And what do? You burn through a lot of sheets, when you start off. Then you start to get more proficient, say, okay, I'm dialed in here. I go at 385 degrees. I can feel the temperature. I can feel the sheet. I'm dialed in. Let's go. No different than that, guys. Think of it from that perspective.
So if I just happen to be holding this high off the ground, I'm gonna shoot quite a ways. Probably gonna hit my boot. That's why I don't like this really round. I like the longer one to get it away from me, okay? If I'm doing that and I go like this, okay? How thick is your recommendation?
Depending on the warranty, but figure, let's look at 1.5 gallons a square.
Okay, so that's, a gallon a square is 15 mils, so you're looking 20, 25 mils?
About, no,
So,
yeah, about 1.5 gallons is 23 mils, yeah.
23 mils.
Yeah,
Okay.
dry.
I'm going through, and if I'm going too fast, what does that mean you have to do?
Go over.
It means I gotta go back over, right? Okay? So if I go through, and let's just say I'm using a 25 tip, a 525, okay? And I'm going like this, I'm at a speed that I feel comfortable at, but it's still too thin. But the machine's spraying it, no problem at all. What can you try to do? Get more volume, right? So that way, okay, I'm moving the same speed, but the pump is doing more of the work, okay? Get the machine to work for you, not you working for the machine, okay? And that right there is determined by this, the tip size. The most important thing. Well, after cleanup, keeping everything clean, but as far as operating the machine, the actual application of the product, the tip's the most important thing. Okay, because your tip is what determines your thickness. Your thickness is what determines whether you're doing the job properly or not. Okay? Make sense? Pretty simple, right? Okay. Now with that, we have a 31 right here, just because it's, it's a halfway, decent day out. We'll try this. I have a couple other tips. One's 25. But we kind of want you to see 31 because most likely, you said that's the most common.
31 to 35 is what most people are using, yeah.
Okay. Now you get to a bigger pump. That means I can use bigger tips. So what does that allow me to do? Go even faster, right? Okay. Everything's about productivity with this. Everything. Okay. Now you don't slick the lines when you
We
start.
slick them when we use hoses, yeah.
Okay, you do. Now,
All right, before you go there, just a couple more things about safety, guys. If you get a jam or this doesn't pump or something like that, don't put your finger in front of it. Don't look at it. Stop the pump. Bleed off the pressure before you do anything, okay? It's very important. You got 3,500 PSI here. That'll cut right through you, all right? Or it's going to inject paint into your system. And that is not a good thing. So please, make sure before you start screwing around with the tips, the pump is off and you've got no pressure in the line. Because somebody's going to do this and they're going to lose their eye. Second, Gary. Yes?
Yep.
Safety-wise, do you have to use whip checks on your lines? I used to water blast and use 10K water blasters and stuff, and so we were required to use whip checks. Is that something that is a recommendation?
once we get going through here, like this, remember how we have a guy in a hose?
Yeah.
Okay, he's the guy operating the hose, not the gun.
Yeah.
Is going to have 2 wrenches with him.
Okay.
Okay, and that person is constantly going to be checking these fittings. It's not as crucial on this unit, even though I'm still going to tell you to do it 2-3 times a day. It's a lot more crucial on the 933 because you have a lot more hose, a lot more weight, they're bigger, so those will have a tendency to want to loosen up more.
Yeah.
Okay? You may never need to tighten it up for 4 months, but that one time you didn't check it, you just blew the fitting. Now you got to replace 2 hoses. That's $3,000 on the big unit. Okay?
Now the whip is the last portion of hose. So you've got a larger diameter hose coming off the pump, whatever length it is, and then you go down to a smaller diameter hose to be able to deliver the product. So that last 25 feet typically is called a whip. All right, that's what they're talking about.
Even 10 foot. It's depending on the unit.
Ours are 25, what we're doing with the big.
Yeah, on the
150.
933,
Yeah.
it's a 10-inch 3/8, 10 foot.
Right.
All that really means is make sure you're working with somebody else to blame the problem on when you mess it up, say it's somebody else's
Yeah.
fault.
It'll whip too. I mean, you can get smacked in the head.
Yep. Now, with this right here, without having a tip in it, if I was to pull this trigger, the pressure that's inside of this system is just gonna want to blast right out. Okay, it wants to go. It's easy release outside of the gun right here. The tip is what maintains the back pressure, which makes it easy to work on. Okay. Now, if I had this hooked to here, put it on, I did a training 3-4 years ago, and handed it to the guy I was training. I said, okay, put it all together like I just showed you, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I was going through, it was real hot, my glasses fell off, I went to pick them up, I stepped on them and broke them. Okay. So now he hands it back to me, all right? The tip guard is up here, and I had it pushed away from me, okay? And I told him, never, ever, ever pull the trigger without the tip in it. Always double check everything, whole 9 yards. And I said, sand power right there, mineral spirits, and I went like this to push him away, so get back. Watch what happens, okay? It's gonna be nice and smooth. Just as and my hands were wet with mineral spirits, so they were slippery, okay? Another stupid thing to do is why I tell you guys to wear gloves, all right? As soon as I went like this, it was just far enough away where I had saw that the tip wasn't in it, okay? But my brain was already telling my fingers to pull the trigger, okay? So by the time I went to go, don't pull the trigger, I was already pulling the trigger, okay? The gun blasted out, it spun in my hand, so now it started pointing this way. 3 days in Lynchburg Hospital. Okay? That was without the tip, okay? I had my arm out like this, and it shot right there, okay? I didn't get an injection. Okay, because it blew up. I mean, it was a huge blood blister, okay, guys? But it didn't matter. Guess what they had to do? They had to still treat it as if I had gotten injected, okay? So what did they do? They went in with a wire brush and had to sit there and do this to my muscle, okay? I wasn't awake for this. I was passed out. They knocked me out, okay? But the thing is that was 4 years ago this July, okay? And that right there, when it gets cold out and I'm doing something like this, it's still a little tender after almost 4 years, okay? Safety's the key, guys, okay? The other thing right here, every single one of our guns has a safety switch on it. Right there, I can't pull this, but I don't care. Still, don't be pointing this at somebody, all right? It's always pointing down, all right? Now the reason why we slick the lines, and by slicking the lines, I'm just gonna go through, this is mineral spirits that I'm gonna clean up the machine with. I just run mineral spirits through the lines, just to slick it before I start, okay? And then I'm gonna go through and then I'm just gonna run product right behind this. And I'm gonna put it into this bucket. This bucket right here.
I need to open that and
Yeah,
stir it up.
yeah.
I got a paddle.
Yeah, that's fine. We probably don't even need to stir it, Scott, but yeah, try.
I can use, somewhat dirty-ish, okay? Go through to get the bulk of the stuff out, and then I put crystal clear mineral spirits through it till I'm done. How many gallons of mineral spirits when you're done do your guys go through?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay? I had these guys, even though we're doing a little bit, okay, we're probably only gonna go through 1 bucket of material, okay? I don't care if it's 1 bucket or if it's 100 buckets. You still have to clean it the same way. Once it's wet, it's wet. It doesn't matter how much you put through it, okay? All right? So we got 10 gallons. I'm actually gonna try to go through it. And guys, and this was stressing us out before you guys even got here, virgin mineral spirits. Okay, is that what you use? Okay. Virgin mineral spirits is what you need, not paint thinner or anything like that. It's got to be virgin mineral spirits, 100% mineral spirits.
What exactly?
Don't try to find it in a small town.
Yeah, we're gonna try cleaning it out with this. It's 100% mineral spirits, but it's not virgin mineral spirits. But we're gonna.
What's the difference?
One's the correct one, one's not. Okay. The key thing is it's different classifications. Some companies will say, okay, it's 100% mineral spirits, but they'll still put water. Okay. If it says virgin mineral spirits, yeah, there's no water added to it at all.
Think about that.
This is skinned over.
I'd have brought a paddle.
This is way too thick.
Should I go get a
Yeah, I think we're gonna need to, Scott. This is starting to skin over.
too thick?
Yeah. Yeah, this will work. This is fine. I got it. Go ahead.
If you look at the paddle on this drill, I just did
You want to get the material out, okay, pretty much 100% made out. Cleanup at the end of the day is the most important thing, because that makes you clean it up today. If you didn't clean it out right, you go to use tomorrow, who do you want to smack upside the head?
You know, I should have probably put it inside instead of doing it out here last night.
Yeah, a little bit too cool.
Cannot stress it.
That's fine. It'll pump. It'll pump.
Properly, it's going to water the hose, okay, and then the stuff's going to break free. Okay, the stuff that stays inside the hose, it breaks free, and then once it do, it's clogged in the tip. All right?
Who wants to carry that over? Because I'll spill it all over myself. It is thick. Silicones are thick. It's 97% volume of solids.
Yeah, it's still puddling up on top without just.
Well, no, yeah, that's,
All right, so then you flip it upside down.
that's why you need that high pressure.
Right.
Well, the whole thing is, when you're sitting there spraying, you want everything to be consistent, right? You don't want to have to keep stopping. That's just a pain in the ass. You guys don't want to have to deal with that. And dealing with it is cleaning up at the end of the day, okay? And then during the day, not letting it sit, because if this is sitting up on top of the roof, okay, it's 95 degrees out. You set this down, just like that on the roof. What's the roof temperature? What's it heating that line up to? Okay?
Depends on if it's a Duralast roof or not.
There you go.
Well, the thing is,
Points. Where's a hat? Give that man a hat.
you're resting it down on, what you're trying to cover up. And a lot of times what I see, you're trying to cover up something that's black. All right? If it's black and the sun's beating on it all day, doesn't that increase the pressure? All right, I mean, not pressure, that temperature.
You got
Okay.
10:30. I know you got to get running, so I don't.
Yep. Okay,
You got to
guys.
get spraying here.
So what I'm gonna do right now, I've already slicked it. Okay. So we're gonna do, we have product right there. Now right there, what did I just do? I introduced air into the system. So what is that gonna do for you? Say you're on the machine. Does that matter to you? That you just introduced air into the system?
You want to bring this back a little bit?
No, it doesn't matter to you, but who's it matter to? The guy running spray, because he's gonna be going along and all of a sudden it's gonna go. And then his beautiful, nice spray pattern just went to crap, okay? So what you do now is, I wanna make sure that this is off, okay? If this is turned off, we're just gonna start this up. You guys probably know all about Honda engines, okay? This right here is your actual pressure control. Clockwise increases pressure, so what does counterclockwise do?